I made a statement uh, and carefully wrote it out uh, concerning our entering into the land of Canaan or the promised land. We covered this extensively during the last session that we had on yesterday. And I briefly read the statement, but I didn't have it fully developed. So I fully developed it, and we're going to begin with this to lead us into the next part of this study. After achieving and maintaining a level of discernment that allows us to absolutely distinguish between what is false, deceptive, and illusory, you can then begin to reside, to live in a level of consciousness that allows thy will, purpose, intent to be done on earth as it is in heaven, to be a readily discernible, verifiable, and observable fact of your daily moment-to-moment existence. I'll read it again. Everyone is going to get this. After achieving and maintaining a level of discernment that allows you to absolutely distinguish between what is false, deceptive, and illusory, you can then begin to reside in or live in a level of consciousness that allows thy will, purpose, intent to be done on earth as it is in heaven, to be a readily discernible, verifiable, and observable fact of your daily moment-to-moment existence. Therefore, the so-called promised land or land of Canaan is not a physical, material, geographic, earthly location at all. The promised land or the land of Canaan, listen, refers to the organic reality, that is, original earth experience, that we inhabit when we gain an absolute, constant, complete, and comprehensive understanding via holistic thought and perception of the true nature of being or the true nature of reality. For us, the promised land of Canaan refers to the inception of a divine golden age of a heaven on earth experience. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Not a geographic location.
Absolutely not.
In our current dispensation of time, finding grace in the eyes of the Lord means that our beloved ancestors have granted us permission, have said, Cain, yes, to our request to pass through the Lion's Gate portal. I'll mention that again. In our current dispensation of time, finding grace in the eyes of the Lord means that our beloved ancestors have granted us permission. That is, they have said, Cain, that's the word for grace, translated grace, yes, to our request to pass through the Lion's Gate portal. Now, in ancient times, you all see the door knocker here with the lion's head on it that looks like the sun as well, the lion's mane looking like the sun. Does everyone see that?
Dang.
They would put these lions at or near gateways, doorways, entranceways. It was our ancestors' way of reminding us that we did not have free access, that throughout time we would have to knock ask, seek passage into the upper echelons. And it would not happen until we had fallen completely into the realms of physicality, that we had completed the descent. Does it make sense? As
Okay.
I have stated previously, in former times, the Lion's Gate served not so much as a portal or entranceway, but as an obstacle, a barricade or a blockade, an impediment to our ascension. During the descent inversion process, our people, that is we, were not permitted to pass through the Lion's Gate portal. Therefore, the Lion's Gate was, during those times, emblematic or symbolic of our inability to ascend beyond the influence of the hierarchical low frequency field of dominance. That is Yaldabaoth, the lion headed god, and the archons. Are we clear? Does everyone understand that?
Okay.
Can't, Eitai.
Kane.
Okay.
Take my thing a long time to unmute.
However,
Okay.
Eitai,
yes,
Hey,
would it be feasible for when, and I try to say these things to keep us anchored because we are taking a giant step from where we used to be in terms of the experience that we've had. And we've been given access, as Eitai continued to say. But my point of raising the question is, when we hear the term Yadibel and the archons, we have to put it within a context that we've experienced so that it don't just remain, it's always got to remain holistic, so to speak, as opposed to being dualistic. And so when you look at that, would it be proper to say Yadibel is represented today by whatever kings and rulers within the false social matrix mind?
right. Anything that has a hierarchical
Right,
structure,
right.
whether it's the family, whether it's the job, the corporation, the
That's what I'm talking about. Right,
the
right.
the cultural system that you belong to, when you can see that hierarchical arrangement, that is
There we go.
that is the evidence, that's the fingerprint of Yaldabaoth, of this low frequency
That's
field
right.
of
That's what
dominance.
I'm talking
Low
about.
frequency field of dominance.
Yes, that's true.
Right, right. I just always try to make these things applicable, for us because I know the effect, of what this done had on us, and now trying to make this this is a monumental step,
Yes.
in our sense of growth, what we are getting. And we don't always free ourselves up and admit that we don't know,
Right.
And that's a problem. We shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that, but it is.
Right.
Ain't nothing.
We're going to continue to image this and give examples of this low frequency field of dominance as we go forward. And just, and again, our forefathers gave us this character, Yaldabaoth and the archons, these characters, to just simplify this, what we now know as the low frequency field of dominance. They weren't talking about it in those terms, but to simplify it, they gave it zoomorphic and zoomorphic and personified dimensions to it, just to
Right.
and to tell it in an allegory. So
Right.
we're going to give more and more examples. We're going to provide more and more examples, just like what we have already done. When you look at the structures that are hierarchical in nature, that is a reflection that individuals are still under the influence, like we said, of low frequency um, field of dominance, and it is reflected in just about every Judeo-Christian influenced belief system,
Right.
where
Right.
we have God's umbrella of protection. God at the top, the man under God, the wife under the man, and the children under the woman.
There
So
you go.
that's Yaldabaoth.
That's your debate.
That's Yaldabaoth. That's evidence of the influence of a low frequency field of dominance.
Yes.
Of a low frequency field of dominance. In our
Perfectly laid out. Perfectly.
in our current dispensation of time, finding grace in the eyes of the Lord means that our beloved ancestors have granted us permission, have said, Cain, yes, to our request, to our knock on the lion's gate portal, to pass through the lion's gate portal. As I have stated previously, in former times, the lion's gate served not so much as a portal or entranceway, but as an obstacle, a barricade, or a blockade, an impediment to our ascension. Why? Because we hadn't descended far enough. Very simple. During the descent inversion process, our people, that is, we, were not permitted to pass through the Lion's Gate portal. Therefore, the Lion's Gate was during those times emblematic or symbolic of our inability to ascend beyond the influence of the hierarchical low frequency field of dominance. That is Yaldabaoth, the lion headed god, and the archons. However, now that we all, and I mean we all, are successfully freeing ourselves from the dominating influence of Yaldabaoth and the archons, that is, the low frequency field of dominance, at long last, permission has been granted, and we have passed through that portal. So, I'm going to give us examples in the scriptures now that refer to this Yaldabaoth, this low frequency field of dominance. Okay? In 1 Peter 5 and 8, be sober, be vigilant. Have we used that word before recently? Vigilant.
Come on. Whoa.
I'm trying to be on. Yes, we did. It takes me so long to unmute. Yes, I'm saying yes. We did.
That's right. You must be vigilant in monitoring your emotions moment to moment, converting lower frequency emotions or lower frequency energy into higher
Right.
frequency emotions or energy by aligning all things in accordance with your divine intent and will. Whatever occurs or has occurred, you can and must always perceive everything as occurring within the framework of, in accordance with, and as a direct result of your divine intent or will. If not, you are going to get pulled back down into the lower realms or the lower spectrum of low frequency energy or that low frequency field of dominance. In other words, you're going to be devoured by the lion. Yaldebeo. Be sober, listen, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Now, when I used to hear this in the church, you know, now see, we would have people that said, well, that, this was a popular thing. Well, that devil don't have no teeth. That devil don't
Right.
have no teeth, so don't worry about it. I thought that was so ignorant because I knew that word devour didn't mean chew up. The word devour in the Greek is the word katapino. Katapino, it means to drink down, to swallow down, to devour, to swallow whole. Now we know a lion doesn't do that. So it wasn't talking about a lion like that. It was talking about this frequency of energy that if you do
Yeah.
not consistently, if you're not vigilant in consistently monitoring your emotions moment by moment, you are going to get drank down, swallowed down, devoured by this low frequency field of dominance. Does it make sense, family?
Right.
Okay.
So this is what we talked about in terms of this whirlpool or vortex, which is uh, symbolic or symbolized as the lion's mouth. Are you all seeing?
Right.
And it just showing you that if you don't maintain the upward uh, attitude of higher frequency emotions instantaneously, if you're not vigilant, you can be drawn down and swallowed down into this low frequency vortex. Is the symbolism clear?
It's clear.
I know it is because the ancestors designed this way, and they're allowing us to unpack this thing and decode it at this time. So our instructions: be vigilant, be sober, be vigilant in monitoring your emotions moment by moment. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, that's that low frequency potential, the potential for low frequency energy that is in all of us, seeking whom he may devour. And that means to swallow down whole, to drink down, to pull down into this downward spiral. And again, we see Yaldabaoth represented with as both Nasik the sun, which is simply a reflector or a lens. It produces the image of what? The original.
Right.
The
Right.
lion's head, which is the low frequency, um, the highest of the low frequency um, energies within the spectrum of the low frequency hierarchical field of dominance, and it has the body of a snake, which indicates what? The energy waves, the energetic nature of it. It also has the moon and the stars, as well as the sun, which represent the seven archons that correspond to the 7 days of the week. The, the time portal, the false illusory um, conception of time that we are all locked into, that we all serve. All of these things are very, very important as we get to a fuller comprehension of this false, illusory, simulated matrix.
Excellent explanation.
The imagery of the lion and the snake is clearly indicated in Isaiah 5, 25 through 30, which talks about, in perfect context, everything that we are talking about now relative to the influence and the domination of this low frequency hierarchical field of dominance that we were all subject to during the descent. Listen, Isaiah 5, 25 through 30. Therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he hath stretched forth his hand against them, and hath smitten them. And the hills did tremble, and the carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all of this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is still stretched out still. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. Will hiss like a serpent.
Yeah.
And behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. None shall be weary, nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep, neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosed, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows are sharp and their bows bent. Their horses' hooves shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion. They shall roar like lions. Yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it until the appointed time, which is now.
Right.
And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring sea. Do y'all see this whirlpool here? They gonna swallow y'all up and destroy y'all. That is the low frequency hierarchical energy that is being allegorically talked about. It's got all of the elements, family, that we have shown here. And if one look unto the land. Now, we talked about the land before. Behold, darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened, and the heavens thereof. Follow me, family. Follow me. Remember, now see, the false simulated matrix that's created by the lion-headed god, Yaldabaoth, listen, it is a land of shadow and darkness. That means the experience, family, would be extremely deceptive. Unlike the original, family, a place where perception and deception would coexist to form our reality. According to the
Yeah.
Gnostic text, Sophia eventually took the physical form as Gaia, the original Earth, and her daughter was called Zoe, the imagination, while the demiurge and the archons built their replica Earth matrix, which is this land of shadow and darkness, of illusion, of a place where there was no light, where the experience, family, would be extremely dualistic.
You know how in our Hebraic context we define that. That was the United States of America.
That's correct. But you know, and it says a land of darkness and sorrow. That's low frequency
That's
emotion,
low frequency.
correct? And the
Yeah.
light is darkened in the heavens thereof. That is the world we inhabited during the descent, no matter where on earth, not see.
Where? Right, right, right.
This idea of a geographic location, that the promised land is a geographic location, is false. It is
Yeah,
a conception uh, that was that was constructed under deception,
absolutely.
under duality.
Yep.
In Amos 3, verses 7 and 8, surely the Lord will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. The lion roared. Listen, this is Yaldabaoth. The lion roared, who will not fear? The Lord hath spoken. Who can but prophesy? So this is still under the influence, family, of a low frequency field of dominance.
Yeah.
Low frequency field of dominance. So what we want to talk about, having established that, we want to talk about and celebrate the fact that we have moved beyond that. That we have moved beyond that. And we want to talk about what the scriptures talk about as the acceptable year of the Lord and the revelation of the Spirit of grace. See, we're following this word grace, now see, like our ancestors
Yeah.
intended us to. We're following this word, the Hebraic word, or the Hebrew word, translated as grace, which is Cain, meaning yes, favor, acceptance. And it is related phonetically to the word Canaan, all right? To the word Canaan. Our ancestors wanted us to put these things together. And the root word of Cain is 2603, H2603, which is this word,
H2603.
H2603, which is this word, Conan, which is phonetically similar and similar in its meaning, in its connotation to the word Canaan. We'll show you. Conan means to bend or stoop down, to lower oneself in kindness to an inferior. The Hebrew word Canaan means lowland, all right, or humiliate oneself. It is a play on words. It is a play on words. And our ancestors did this with the intention that once we woke up and we were given a hint, like waking up and seeing this word grace the other day in 3 to 4 foot high letters, that we would follow their lead or our own lead and make this connection with the land of Canaan. So we've done that. So when we look, we see these two terms, the acceptable year of the Lord in the scriptures, both Old and New Testament, and this spirit of grace term. So the heading today, what we're going to focus in on, is the acceptable year of the Lord and the revelation of the spirit of grace. Reminding you again that the promised land, or the land of Canaan, is not a physical, material, geographic, earthly location at all. The promised land, or the land of Canaan, refers to the organic reality, that is, the original earth experience that we inhabit, that we reside in, when we gain an absolute, listen, constant, complete, and comprehensive understanding via holistic thought and perception of the true nature of being and reality. For us, the promised land of Canaan refers to the inception of a divine golden age of heaven, of a heaven on earth experience. And it is talked about in the scriptures. And I'll go back. I had meant to put this in where, bear with me, family. Where in the scriptures, let's see. Bear with me. I know it's in the prophets. 1 second. Um, in Proverbs 1 and 28, it says, "Then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me." All right. That was during the descent and the inversion process. Okay.
Right.
In Isaiah 30:19, it says, "For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem." Now, that is the promised land, correct?
Right.
"Thou shalt weep no more." Now, I want us to write that word weep down. Weep, W-E-E-P. "And he will be very, what? Gracious." That's that word. That's our word, grace, right? "Very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee."
What reference was that, Eitai?
That's Isaiah 30 and 19. Proverbs
30:19.
Proverbs 128. I'm going to have all these in the notes.
Right. Okay.
128, Isaiah 30 and 19. And we covered this one yesterday to a certain
That's
extent.
my dream number. That is my dream number.
Okay.
Oh, hmm,
And in Isaiah
30 and 19.
65, Isaiah 65, uh, verses 12 and then verse 24. "Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose wherein I delighted not." Isaiah 24, 65:24. "And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear." That is the promised land. It is an experience, family. It is a life experience. It's not a place. It is a life experience. Are we clear? It is a life experience. That is a heaven on earth. like we pointed out in the seven Bomar, where everything works according to your favor. All right? We have entered
Right.
into that. We have entered into that, the acceptable year of the Lord and the revelation of the Spirit of grace. Trust me, I'll have all of those scriptures included. There are a ton. That is why I missed it. So we said that recently the ancestors have said Cain. Cain, yes, yes, grace. We've entered into that spirit of grace, where, as 2 Corinthians 1 and 20 states, all the promises of God are yea and amen. And it says, unto the glory of God by us. See, we couldn't read this before. By us. This is our doing.
Yeah.
Continuing on, Psalms 45. My heart is inditing a good matter. I speak of things which I have made touching the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer. For thou art fairer than the children of men. Thou art fairer than the children of men. Making a distinction. Grace is poured into thy lips. Therefore, God has blessed thee forever. Forever, family. This is this infinity aspect. The infinity aspect has blessed thee forever. This is the acceptable year of the Lord. This is the promised land. Gird thy sword upon thy thigh, O most mighty, and thy glory and thy majesty. Psalms 84, verses 4 through 12. Listen very carefully. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house. They will be still praising thee, Selah. Think about that. That dwell in thy house. That dwell in thy house. We said that we must dwell where? In this higher energy frequency field of domination. This higher energy frequency field of domination, which tends to cause us to increase, not decrease, the frequency. But we have to dwell there, have to dwell in that house. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, in whose heart are the ways of them. Again, that heart chakra. Who passing through, listen, the valley of Baca. Baca means weeping. Remember, I told you that, write the word weep down. Baca means we've passed through, family, the valley of Baca. Make it a well. The rain also filleth the pools. We're going to talk about that rain. That rain, that's the word, I bet when we look it up, that's the word moray. Moray, teacher. Ain't talking about no rain like that. We'll get to that though. They go from what? Strength to strength. That is the characteristic of the high frequency field of dominance. You go from strength to strength. You maintain at level 250. What happens? You move to level 310. You maintain that. What happens? You move to level 350 and so forth and so on. You go from strength to strength. Does this make sense, family?
Absolutely, Eitai.
Every one of them in Zion appeareth before God. The Lord God of hosts, hear my prayer, give ear, O God of Jacob. Selah. Think about that. Yeah, we ain't praying like that now. Behold, O God, our shield, and look upon the face of thine anointed. I want you all to write the word anointed down. The anointed. And write the word appeareth or standeth before God. The anointed appearing or standing before God. I'm going to show you how the ancestors weave this together, family, to speak to us at this time. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I'd rather be a doorkeeper, where in the house of God, than dwell in the tents of the wickedness. The house of God is in the promised land, family. For the Lord is a sun and shield. The Lord will give grace and glory, will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walketh upright. I'm showing you what the year of what is characterized by the acceptable year of the Lord. O Lord of hosts, blessed is the man that trusteth in thee. Jeremiah 31, 1 through 3. At the same time, saith the Lord, will I be God to all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. Thus saith the Lord, the people, listen, which were left. That's a remnant, isn't it?
That's a remnant.
Of the sword found grace in the wilderness. See, we're all in the wilderness now. We were all left in the wilderness. We weren't when you're not under a hierarchical structure, family, you're in the wilderness. When you've removed yourself from the hierarchy, you're in the wilderness. A social hierarchy, a cultural hierarchy, a religious hierarchy, a economic hierarchy, all of those things during the dominance of the low frequency field of dominance, during the absolute influence of that, took on that hierarchical structure. And all of us, to some degree or another, had to step out of that structure and into the wilderness. Are you all with me?
Yes, yes.
Thus saith the Lord, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to what? Rest. This is everything
Yeah.
we've talked about, fam. This is everything we've talked about. It all fits within this framework because it's from the ancestors. We set this thing up. The Lord hath appeared to me of old, saying, yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. With loving kindness have I drawn thee. Very important scriptures coming up. Zechariah 4 in its entirety and Zechariah 12. This is going to put all of this in perfect context so that we know of a surety that this is about us.
I didn't hear that reference.
I'm sorry.
Zachariah. Zechariah
4
4.
in its entirety and Zechariah 12 in its entirety. We're going to read it.
Say it, okay.
Zechariah 4, and the angel, this is very important. Now, what did we write down last? All right. What did we write down last?
Remove from, no, wait a minute. Anointed, appearing, standing before God.
That's correct. Listen for this within Zechariah 4. All right. Listen for it. Zechariah 4, the angel that talked with me came again and waked me as a man that is wakened out of his sleep. He waked me as a man that is wakened out of his sleep. Very symbolic there. And said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it. A candlestick all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps which are upon the top thereof, and 2 olive trees. Write down olive trees, 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl, the other upon the left side of the bowl. 2 olive trees, one on the right side, the other on the left side.
Did we turn the volume down?
No, not on my end.
Wow. Somebody tried to call me. I didn't answer, and my volume just went completely. I can't hardly hear.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
Wow.
The 2 olive trees, one standing on the right side, the other standing on the left side. So I answered and spake to the angel that talked with me, saying, what are these, my Lord? And the angel that talked with me answered me and said, knowest thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel. Now, Zerubbabel means, it literally means those who were born in Babylon. Those who were born in Babylon. Zerubbabel, the seed, Zarub, seed of Babylon. Those individuals, rather, that were born in the West, And the word is not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. By my spirit, not force, but power, but energetic power. Not through working, but through energetic power. Not through laboring, not through toiling. Are you all with me? Who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a plain, and he shall bring forth the headstone thereof, with shoutings crying, grace, grace unto it. There's our word again. Grace, grace unto it. Are you all with me?
Yes. I'll
Moreover,
leave my mic open for a minute if I'm quiet enough.
moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of the house. This is very important. His hands shall also finish it. And thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto you. For who hath despised the day of small things? Small beginnings, family. Do not despise that. Do not despise the day of small beginnings, the day of small things. Because in this dispensation, they are going to lead to greater and greater things. The day of small blessings, for they
Yep.
shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those seven. The plummet in the hands of Zerubbabel with those seven. They are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro through the whole earth. Then answered I and said unto him, Listen, what are these two olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof? I'm going to show you what it is, family. Let me see if I can get a better representation of it. We've actually talked about this before. And bear with me, family, because I really want to give us a good picture of what it is that in the classical. I can't find it now. I promise I'll give you a better picture of this. But we see in the Kabbalistic tree of life, all right? In the Kabbalistic tree of life, we see on the left side three sephira going up the left side. Do you all see that? Three sephira going up the
Yes.
right side.
Uh-huh.
And if I had the other, you have a straight path, which is the candlestick that is going up the middle. That is the straight path to God, that they call it. The straight path to God. On one side, the one side represents the feminine, the other side represents the masculine.
Mm-hmm.
One side represents severity, the other side represents mercy. One side represents severity, the other side represents mercy. All right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what he's being shown with the candlestick and the two olive trees, one on the right side and the other on the left. Trust me, I know specifically who and what those things are, but I'm not going to reveal them at the time. I've said it in the past. Some people may not have been on, some people don't remember, but it's going to be revealed to you. Then answered I and said unto him, What are these two olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof? And I answered again and said unto him, I'm sorry, and he answered me and said, Knowest not what these be? And I said, No, Lord. And he said, These are the two anointed ones. Are you all with me? That,
Okay.
that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. No further explanation is given here. No further explanation is needed. This is going to be revealed to everyone if we just stay focused. Look upon the face of thine anointed. They go from strength to strength, every one of them in Zion appeareth before God, standeth before God. These anointed ones. These anointed ones. All right? Moving forward, Zechariah 12 in its entirety, verses 1 through 14. The burden of the word of the Lord of Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens, and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about. Now, this is within this, the land of Canaan, or the acceptable year of the Lord, or the time that the Spirit of grace is being revealed. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, and they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut to pieces. Though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and its rider with madness. And I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. The governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in the Lord of hosts their God. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheath. Look, not water this time, but fire, but fire. And they shall what? Devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited in her own place, even in Jerusalem, but not in a physical geographic location. Not in a physical geographic a graphic location. This is an energetic, this is under family the influence of high frequency. This is the life experience under the influence of a high frequency field of dominance. Does it make sense? The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first. We've talked about the firstborn of those that are resurrected, the first fruits of the resurrection. This is what we comprise: the he goats and the she goats before the flock. It's talking about the same thing, family. In that day shall the Lord defend, I'm sorry, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah, In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them shall be as David. He that is feeble among them shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God. As the angel of the Lord before them. All of this is coded language, family. All of it is coded language. And it shall come to pass in that day. And the language is coded. You cannot look at this from a dualistic perspective. You cannot decode it using dualistic thought and perception. It must be holistic, and it must fall within the prophetic framework that our ancestors have established. It cannot be decoded based on a particular religious doctrine. Impossible. Impossible. Because those things were rendered, they were constructed, they had their inception under the dominion of a low frequency hierarchical field of dominance. There's no way.
You attempt that, that would only pull you back, hold you back.
Absolutely. It can only keep you locked in. The understanding that you get will only keep you locked in. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy the nations that come against Jerusalem. This is going to be don't think our rise isn't being opposed or won't be opposed. It will be. It definitely will be. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, listen, the spirit of grace. This is the revelation of the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. We are that firstborn, family. We represent that firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadad Rimmon in the valley of Megiddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, and the families of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of Shimei apart, and their wives apart, all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. You all can kind of already guess what this is talking about and why things will be separated and dualistic at that time. So, we said that we were going to get into the wheat and the tares and the separation and the understanding of that. Once we get into that, we'll come back and unpack this and decode that. But I just want to give us an overall view of what the scripture talks about as, or refers to as, the acceptable year of the Lord and the revelation of the Spirit of grace. We should have a special understanding of all of this as we have arrived at this critical point, successfully passing through this Lionsgate portal at this particular time. successfully passing through. And again, what this means, family, and I'll read it again. After achieving and maintaining a level of discernment that allows you, that allows me to absolutely distinguish between what is false, deceptive, and illusory. Can we do that now? Can we say that we can do that now?
Thank.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. So when we can do that,
Okay.
we can begin to reside in or live in, see the word that I chose, to reside in or live in a level of consciousness that allows us, that allows thy will, purpose, intent to be done on earth as it is in heaven, to be a
Whew, what you say?
to be readily discernible, verifiable, and observable fact
Observable.
of our daily moment to moment existence. It will be readily observable, readily discernible that we have attained grace, that everything will be what? Yea and amen. Everything will be yea and amen as it relates to our lives. All of the promises of God, yea and amen, unto the glory by whom?
Mm-hmm.
Unto the glory of God by whom? By us. By us.
Thank.
Continuing on. Therefore, the so-called promised land or land of Canaan is not, as we have understood before, a physical, material, geographic, earthly location at all. The promised land or land of Canaan refers to the organic reality, that is, the original earth experience during a golden age that we inhabit, and I use the word inhabit, that we occupy, that we inhabit when we gain an absolute, constant, look, constant, not wavering up and down, but constant, complete, and comprehensive understanding via holistic thought and perception of the true nature of being and reality. For us, the promised land of Canaan refers to the inception of a divine golden age of a heaven on earth, a literal heaven on earth. All of these scriptures that I've given you describe that. That's what our ancestors described. That's what they left to us so that we would recognize when we would enter into that. Also, Isaiah 61, and we'll go there and we'll read that at this particular time. Hold on, let me find it.
I had learned that at one time. Anointed. I've been known by the Lord and anointed. Open the prison gates. Yep. I think that's the one.
Isaiah 61, and we'll read from the first to the 11th verse. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me, remember, anointed me, to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives. What were they captive under? that low frequency hierarchical field of dominance. Does it make sense? To proclaim liberty to the captives and the
Yes.
opening of the prison to them
Hmm.
that are bound,
That's right. Makes sense now. Real sense.
to proclaim what? The acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God. That's why we saw all of the scriptures that said that anyone that would come against us now, what would happen to them? It's academic. To comfort all that mourn, to appoint them. This is why at the end of the Zechariah 12, it talked about this great mourning family, Mourning, that would take place. That would take place after individuals would recognize who was pierced and why. After individuals would recognize why they were pierced, why they were pierced. All right? To comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion. Are you all with me now? All of this connects together. To give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, converting what? Low frequency feelings and emotions and vibrations into what? High frequency, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called what? Trees of righteousness, going back to those olive trees that were standing, one on the right side, one on the left, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. And they should build what? The old waste places. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. We were desolated, family, throughout many generations in the process of this descent, the process of this fall and inversion. And strangers shall stand and feed their flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers, and ye shall be named priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles. I'm going to repeat that again. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves. So, what are the riches of the Gentiles and what is their glory? Only everything that we had and lost during the golden age. That's our inheritance they're talking about. For your shame ye shall have double. Now, that's 100% interest. On what they owe us, what they've taken by fraud, family. 100% interest. Isn't that 100% interest? Double. For your shame ye shall have double, and for your confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be upon them. For I, the Lord, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering, and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Now, again, Nasik is going to bring this aspect of covenant in for more clarity when he's ready to go. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation, and he hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all nations. So that is in fact the land of Canaan, the land of Canaan. It is an experience, a life experience that we are beginning to um, experience, that we are beginning to manifest as we rise in consciousness, as we rise in our understanding. This thing cannot be held back from us. The only way it can be held back from you is that you yourself quit, that you yourself refuse to be diligent in applying all of the knowledge that you have uh, that you have been given thus far. There is no doubt that this is exactly where we're at, where the scriptures indicated that we should be. I shouldn't have to convince anyone of this. It should be what we say readily apparent to everyone. Readily apparent to everyone. So, one of the things as we close, family, that I want to show you was what I was talking about yesterday, and what I mentioned yesterday about this teacher of righteousness that is within all of us. I don't want us to be so dependent upon these classes. There's no need to be. All right? You have all of this information within you. In fact, I'm going to give you two scriptures as we end. The one is Joel 2 and 23. We talked about this yesterday and we covered it in yesterday's notes.
What was it again? 2 and 23?
Joel 2 and 23.
Job. Okay, Toda.
Joel, Joel, Joel,
Oh,
not Joel.
Joel. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a little muffled or something was happening, a little quiver in there. I couldn't hear.
2 and
2 and
23
23.
says, Be
Okay.
glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord, for your God, in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, the latter rain in the first month. Does not make sense. He has given you the former rain moderately, and he, the former rain moderately, will cause to come down for you the rain. Doesn't make sense. So let's look at this and have a proper understanding that this is talking about the teacher of righteousness. It don't say the former rain moderately, for he hath given rain. It doesn't say the former rain moderately. It says he has, that is added in. When it does not have a strong designation like you, the former rain, the former, that's not in there. That's added in. The scripture says, for he hath given rain moderately. Let's read it like that. Let's understand what the word rain means. It is H4175. This is going to be very simple. It's the word more. More. That's teacher. He has given you a teacher. And where it says moderately, it's H. Rain is H4175. Moderately is H6666. It's the word tzedakah.
Strong H6666. Tzedakah.
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 It means justice, righteousness, and it refers to a judge, a ruler, or a king of the Davidic messianic lineage. So he's giving you a teacher of justice or righteousness. That is something that is internal in all of us. An internal knower, an internal teacher that will cause to come down. And again, let's look at that. It's yarad, to go down, to come down, to descend for you. And it says the rain, but it is showers. Geshem, showers. A heavy downpouring of what they say the former rain from the teacher and the latter rain, which is H4456, Malkoshe, talking about the rains before the harvest. So this is talking about something that is imminent before you gain something, before you gain what? The fruits of your labor, of your work, of your endeavor. And we all know what this work is. And they say in the first month, which is Rishon, which is Rishon. We are Rishon. We are the first fruits. So these teachings are exclusively for those individuals that will be first. We'll decode this a little less clumsily later, but that is the idea. What the scripture that mirrors this, family, is Psalm 72. Psalm 72.
Now that is my songs right there.
Come on now.
I've been on Psalm 72 forever.
Come on now. It's a reason for this. And beginning well, let's go from the first verse. Give the king thy judgments, O God, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. He shall judge thy people with righteousness, and thy poor with judgment. See, we used to externalize this. We used to externalize this and then put it on one person to do this. But this is internal. This is a potential for anyone that would reach a certain level of consciousness. It never was designed to be just one person. And he shall judge the people with righteousness and the poor with judgment. The mountains shall bring peace to the people, and the little hills by righteousness. He shall judge the poor of the people. He shall save the children of the needy. He shall break to pieces the oppressor. Well, what oppressor are they talking about, family? What oppressor are they talking about? And I want us to think before we answer. What oppressor? What was oppressing us?
The low energy vibrations.
Go say it
Hmm.
again, Yadiel.
The low energy vibrations.
That's correct. The low energy hierarchical field of dominance. They shall fear thee as the sun and moon endure throughout all generations. Now look, verse 6. He shall come down like rain upon the mown grass, as showers that water the earth. That corresponds directly to what we decoded. We just decoded in Joel, the second chapter, 23rd verse, talking about this teacher of righteousness. He shall come down like rain upon mown grass, as showers that water the earth. In his days shall righteousness flourish, and the abundance of peace, so long as the moon endureth. And he shall have dominion also from sea to sea, from the river unto the ends of the earth. They that dwell in the wilderness
Yeah, that's us.
shall bow before him. We ain't bowing before no man. We're bowing before family, humbling ourselves before that divine aspect. That is what? Rising up in all of us.
Hmm.
And his enemies shall lick the dust. The kings of Tarshish and the isles shall bring presents. The kings of Sheba and Seba shall offer gifts. Yea, all the kings, all the ones that are at the top of the hierarchy, that has characterized what? That field of dominance, that hierarchical, low frequency field of dominance, shall do what? Fall down before him. All nations shall serve him, for he shall deliver the needy when he crieth, the poor also, and him that hath no helper. He shall spare the poor and needy, and shall save the souls of the needy. He shall redeem their soul from deceit and violence, and precious shall be their blood in his sight. And he shall live, and to him shall be given the gold of Sheba. Let's not underestimate this fortune that is coming. The gold of Sheba. Prayer also shall be made for him continually, and daily shall he be praised. There shall be an handful of corn in the earth, upon the top of the mountains. The fruit thereof shall shake like Lebanon, and they of the city shall flourish like grass of the earth. His name shall endure forever. His name shall be continued as long as the sun, and men shall be blessed in him. All nations shall call him blessed. Blessed be the Lord God, the God of Israel, who only doeth wondrous things, magical things. And blessed be the glorious name forever. And let the whole earth be filled with his glory. Amen and amen. The prayers of David, son of Yishai, are ended.
Hmm.
All of this ties together, family. All of it ties together because this is the blueprint. This is the way back that our beloved ancestors left us. So we're going to be getting into, again, more detail where this is concerned. Uh, I will have the recordings available, hopefully along with this one. It'll be a three-part series. But, the notes, once you get the notes, they will be complete. And, so that you can look back upon this. This is very timely, family. And our comprehension of all of the information, not because it's coming from me, of all the information that we are receiving at this point is critical. And it's critical to our rise, our continued rise. We have entered
Mhm.
the land of Canaan, the promised land. We have, we are beginning to exhibit this spirit of grace, this spirit of grace, since we've been granted entrance through the Lion's Gate, a very important period of time. And I would go back again and read that the information off of the website uh, that is talking about disabling the past, disabling the past. Currently, that is what we are doing. That is what we are doing. And don't be surprised that this energy, that this energy begins to affect things that you've held on to, that you've relied on in the past, and began to remove those things, begin to take those things out of the way, to prepare
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were on the phone. Bye.
to prepare room for new things, new experiences, a new way of life. So Zimra and I are currently consciously and deliberately moving things out of the way that represent, an old way. Not necessarily, I mean, those things aren't necessarily bad or negative, not in this case. Those things in the past got us to where we are today.
Yes, yes.
But we know that they were just temporary. So we are moving those things
Hmm.
out of the way, creating space, creating a void for
There you go.
this higher frequency energy to create a life experience on a higher level, on a higher level. So, with that, I'm going to end this portion and ask, are there any questions or comments?